Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip,
And I'm CJ.
and it is Monday in the Riv. And I want to let you all know that today's show is only the first episode. We are going to begin to go over the redacted John Perry report, and it is an eye-opening piece. I'm sure that it will
It's
be
a
of
doozy.
Oh, yeah, it is, and I'm sure that it will be available for public dissemination. Someone will post it in its entirety. It's a lot of reading. Um, the investigation section is 35 pages long, um, and there are two other parts. One is just the emails, which is really not much. It's only a couple of really insignificant kind of emails between the attorney. Uh, but this thing is horrific. There is so much. There were so many things wrong that is revealed in this city, and they're going to try to convince you this is about John Perry, and it is. But it's also about the city of Fall River and the way it does business. And we're going to go over this thing in detail. A lot of people are doing a lot of things wrong in this city, and our mayor is turning a blind eye and probably participating in it. So I'll begin, CJ, just by going over one of the initial things. It is the kind of the preliminary when they set it up. It's the ground rules, but I'm not going to read the whole because it'll take us 3 weeks to read this thing. But on the first section of the that go to the severability section 12. I'm going to read you what it says here. Should any provision of this agreement be declared or determined by any court to be illegal or invalid, the validity of the remaining parts shall not be affected. So they're already telling you that they violated the law and possibly will have some of these things. God, Carlos, you know we're on the air. Leave us alone. Okay. Uh, but so they already know. And then the confidentiality. It says, the parties further understand and hereby acknowledge that the terms and conditions of this agreement and documents concerning Mr. Perry and his employment status may not be public records and will not be disclosed except to the extent required by law or if ordered by the supervisor of public records or court of contempt jurisdiction. So they already told you. They knew they were covering this up. Okay? Number one, they know some of this stuff that they've done is illegal. But you know what they're saying? These people don't have the money to take us to court to make us do the right thing. And unfortunately, they're right. Unfortunately, they're right. We don't have the money to take them to court on everything here. But we can file a lot of complaints, and they will be forthcoming. That's just the beginning, because, like I said, it clearly states if any court. But what did they do? What did our mayor do and our legal beagles do? They ignored the court, even though they said, except to the extent required by law. But they didn't. There had to be another subsequent appeal, just like there was with Malone. Wait, there's something. I am really getting aggravated now. I'm shutting the damn phone off. I'm sick of this thing. I can't believe this.
Calm down.
Okay, in the interviews by Detective Lowney, I'm going to point out a few things, and I'm going to give you the page numbers. Because there's a lot of things about what John Perry did, but I'm going to tell you what I'm concerned about. On page 13, so if you guys get this, you can go right to page 13. Of course, whoever made this testimony, the name is redacted, but this is what it says. Whoever it is did not have any new information on John Perry. However, she had her own concerns regarding the office she works within, and that the information was verbally passed on to both Mayor Coogan and City Administrator Seth Aitken by this investigator. It involves accusations, listen to this, accusations of possible misappropriation of incoming cash and funds into her office, lack of accountability in bookkeeping of finances within her office, taxpayer money. Now you know why they hate the word forensic audit. Okay? We didn't make this up. And what did Mayor Coogan do about this? Nobody will ever know, because Paul Coogan never says anything. What happened? What happened? Nothing. Nothing. Cover that up. That's a violation of his sworn fiduciary duty to the taxpayers of Fall River. We had individuals making fraudulent overtime firms, and they let them slide. This is outrageous. This is outrageous. Cash, people concerned about it. And if you read this, I'm on a fixed income, I'm retired. This is Walmart's equivalent of Pepto-Bismol. Drink a couple of bottles of this when you start reading this thing, okay? So, accountability, remember, page 13, make a notation, page 13. And then we go into some things here. And now I'm on page 14. And whoever this is, because it's redacted, is probably, and I'm reading verbatim, is probably the most informative individual regarding overall comings and goings at DCM, and has been working for the city for blank amount of years. Outlines accusations that blank, blank, blank. He states, and I'm going, point one, states that toxins, improper items, fluids, solids, etc. have been used as fill for the incinerator pit. This indicates chunks of asphalt, pallets, paint, blah, 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 blah. Copper ground wire from the incinerator was stripped. He said he actually observed John Perry and Chris Gallagher. Isn't he in jail already?
Yes, he is.
Okay. And
On a sex offense.
And that's the guy who forged the papers, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we never get rid of the bums till they get arrested. That's the only way we can get rid of them. They actually gave him a pay raise, but he's in jail now. Okay. This is our city government, people. This is your mayor. Cover up Coogan. Removing, folding up copper wire. And they had a load of fuel contaminated from soil dumped. And it went on about dumping. And, but then here's another one. This is page 12, going back. Ken Pacheco arrived when there was allegations of some of these illegal dumpings. Arrived at the cemetery, so he was furious about the rumors of contaminated soil being dumped into Bullock Street. He stated, Ken advised everyone that there was no truth to such matter. And then on page 14, we got somebody attesting to the fact we got all kinds of illegal dumping. Did our mayor call the EPA as he is required to by law? No. Did they do test borings to confirm these allegations? No. We'll spend $670,000 on a tourism study. And when I was a chief, every time we had any kind of spill, we had some poor guy that didn't have oil heat anymore. They had a new driver. He pumped his cellar full of oil, filled the cellar up with 100 gallons of diesel. We responded. We were required by law to report this. They had to do test borings all over the land to see if it infiltrated. Because that's what you're supposed to do. This city has been dumping toxic waste all over the place. And they knew about it. That's a federal law. And they're covering that up too. That's just the beginning. Go ahead, CJ, take it over. I've been going, but you want the pages? We gave you the pages. Just read the whole report, and like I said, get a lot of Pepto, people, because it's going to turn your stomach.
I've sent that report out to a few people already. One of the things that really got me was that, Ken Pacheco says that was absolutely untrue. Well, the rumor came about because of the building of the Morton Junior High School, okay? Or the Morton Middle School, as it's now known. And the gas station that was there. And the reason why the gas station is still there, the one right on the corner, as opposed to the one that was next door to it, is because the city wouldn't pay that guy what he was asking for it, unlike they did for the guy on the side of him. And they took out all that dirt, but nobody knew where it went. Allegedly, nobody knew where it went. And there were allegations that Ken Pacheco had it dumped over at Oak Grove Cemetery. Now, if you read in the report also, you'll see that they say that some of that dirt they were concerned about because it was mixing in with the regular soil that was destined for the parks. So did that soil go out to the parks? To the baseball fields? To the parks where the kids play? Did that soil go out there? Is our parks contaminated now? Do we know what's going on? See, this is the problem. This is the problem. And this is a cover-up Coogan scenario. This is something that he regularly does. It's always a cover-up. But he's going to have a concert for the city for Christmas again. Okay? The Sons of Serengeti. But he's selling tickets. I want to know who's making the money on the tickets. Who's making the money on the tickets? Okay? Are the Sons of Serengeti making money on the tickets? Is the city making the money on the tickets? Is the city using that money to pay for janitorial services, security? I don't know. I don't know where that money's going. Are we going to have an accurate accounting of it? Is that accurate accounting going to be given to the school committee? Is that accurate accounting going to be given to the city? I don't know. There's a lot of things we don't know about. Carlos gives a concert every year, and they started giving him a hard time a couple of years ago when they would give him the auditoriums at the various schools for free because he wasn't charging for the concerts. Now the city won't give him those studios for free. He has to pay for them. So now he has to charge money for the concerts, but he tries to keep it as low as possible so people can afford to come. So his concerts are $5. So which one do you want to go to? The $5 one or the $10? I don't know. It makes no sense.
Well,
back to you, Chip.
What you were talking about is on page 15.
Yep.
due to the fact that Perry was having them loaded at the time. Believe the fuel, contaminated soil came from the gas station lot area. That's behind the Morton, what the thing. Several
Correct.
loads were removed, and redacted stated you could smell the petroleum mixed within the soil. It was very strong and identifiable smell. Again, was told by Perry to bring the soil loads to the DCM facility and pile it up behind the incinerator building. After a week or so, the foul-smelling soil was moved to the Oak Grove Cemetery pit. So again, we're moving around contaminated waste in city trucks, which you're not supposed to do either, because when we had hazardous material leaks, there are companies, they have to take that soil, they have to put it in sealed containers, they have to transport it in a particular way that is identified by federal law. God knows how much of the city of Fall River they've contaminated. And in here, it says, I believe it was page 15, that actually a complaint was filed with Councilwoman Pereira. I don't ever hear of anything being done about it. Another person that violated their obligation under their sworn duty of the Constitution to abide by the law. She should have immediately said, we have to inform the EPA and we have to get to the bottom of this. We're contaminating the city of Fall River. Maybe you could put that on a tourism brochure. Or have some advertisements on the T if it ever gets here. Come to Fall River. Live in some market rate housing. It could be built on contaminated land, so you can glow in the dark on your way to your apartment.
I can just picture it now. Some guy smoking a cigarette at a baseball game for his kid, and all of a sudden, the soil ignites.
Yeah, we're laughing to keep from crying.
Exactly,
I mean,
exactly.
This report. It's not about John Perry. It is, but it isn't. It's about him doing things wrong. But CJ, I know you read this, I read it. But there were, I don't know how many, the majority of people who testified said they never had any problem with John Perry. They didn't have any interaction with John Perry. I'll read you a few. States he had nothing to comment since he has not witnessed anything in person, had nothing to say regarding Perry. There's never had it. Other people have said they get along with him. We get along with people. Another one states that he has gotten along with Perry for 24 years. He states that he has no issues with Perry. He states he's never observed anything questionable or improper. But there are other people who have seen things. But you know what this means? You know what this means? It means there should have been an investigation, a thorough investigation when these things were happening. Not when they decided to finally terminate John Perry. All of these things happened over a long period of time. And yes, they happened before Paul Coogan got here. But they were occurring for his entire 2 terms. And there was never an investigation ever initiated on any of these things. They waited and waited and waited until it hit the point where they had to get rid of him. And now they make a cover-up deal, non-disclosure agreements and everything else and all this other stuff. But remember, It says in that initial agreement, the settlement, should any provisions of this agreement be declared or determined by any court to be illegal? Well, I already know it's illegal. It's illegal to dump hazardous material. Except at designated sites. I know. It was part of my job to go to hazardous material incidents. We have a hazmat truck. We have a state hazmat team. Because this is a hazard. Tip, Paul, the fact that they call it the hazardous materials team means that they deal with hazardous materials. But what did you do? What you always do. Cover it up. Hide it. Keep it till after the election. Get that. Don't release anything. Make us take them to court. Let us take them to court. Well, the cat's out of the bag. All the people who did nothing about this, all the people who Kenny Pacheco did nothing. There's no. That's not true. That is not true. Shut up and go back to work in your hazardous materials pit. It's a violation of the law, Ken. You have to report that. You have to conduct an investigation. You should have called in. Clean Harbors is one of them. That's the one I remember off the top of my head. We had a list of hazardous materials mitigation companies. We had a whole list of them. The one we used a lot, that was one of the first ones ever I think that we ever had was Clean Harbors. But they have special guys that come down in the suits and with the containers and
yeah, we had them at the King Philip Mills site. Remember when the guy was trying to build his houses? Yeah. And if you remember correctly, I think Ken Pacheco was the project manager for the Morton Middle School rebuild.
Yep.
And that's what gives a lot of the accusations some credibility.
You're right. But the thing is that, listen, maybe there's no hazardous materials there, but you can't take that chance. You're legally obligated to investigate it. It's just like that poor guy who got his cellar filled up with fuel oil. His insurance paid. The guy got fired. I think he was on his first day on the job. He got his streets mixed up. It wasn't from Fall River. He lost his job. That guy basically had to completely, he had about 3.5, 4 feet of fuel oil in his cellar. Destroyed everything in his cellar. And he had a finished basement. But what happened? We had to call. We called it in. They not only had to mitigate what was in his basement, they had to do test borings for, and all the land around him, his own yard and the land around him, to see if anything, because there was a drain in his cellar. It's a serious thing. In our city, as they always do, the 22 windows. I mean, Kenny's got a good record. I know nothing about the 22. Oh, wait a minute. I actually do know about it, but I won't tell you. So give me a promotion, move me over to another department, pay me more, and I'll keep my mouth shut. That's what they do. That's what they do. Cover up Coogan. But this is a hazard to the people of this community. They had an obligation to check it. It's that person, it was pretty comprehensive about the dumping. I mean, there's about, I don't know how many points, I'm not going to go over it. I'm already going cross-eyed for reading this thing. I don't know how many points he made about where they dumped it, where they got it from, and the copper wires, everything else. And this is only the beginning, people. Remember, we're only up to page 15 in a 35-page report. So we're less than halfway there. Close to halfway there, but not quite. So on the next show, we'll be covering pages 16, hopefully through 35. And this is a lot to digest. But what you can't forget is that we had someone tell them that there may be mishandling of cash and improper accounting in a city department. Not a word about it. We have somebody saying that these toxins, improper fluids, solids, chunks of whatever, lead, enamel, latex, waste materials, buried. It's mind-boggling. And these people all put their hand up. And remember, this isn't sexist. And they should have all stuck their hand where the sun doesn't shine. Because they don't care about the law. They just do what it takes to cover their own asses. And that's why they said, should any provision of this agreement be declared and determined by any court to be illegal? They already know. Oh, God, you better hope I don't hit the mega millions of the Powerball, because I'll tell you what, I don't care. I've been living in this house for a very long time, and I'm content. I'm not going to buy a big house. I hit the mega bucks, I'm hiring an army of lawyers. And then we're going to take you apart piece by piece. So, I'll tell you, I hope somebody posts this quickly so people can read it and be infuriated. So,
well,
all right,
I've been
CJ,
sending it out to people. I've been sending it out to people who've requested it. I'm going to review where I can post it, where people can download it for free. It is a PDF file, and I want the community, I want the public to know what's in that file. I want them to see it. And we have other things. We have we have copies of court orders. We have everything now. We have things that we even have the firefighters arbitration judgment. The city council didn't even have it. I had to give it to a city councilor. The city council doesn't even have it yet. And the 30 days is almost up. I think the 30 days is up on Friday. And it still hasn't been presented to the city council. Isn't that a violation of the law?
Yeah, because what they're going to do, like what they always do, just shut up and vote for it.
That's right.
What they're going to say. Don't read it. Don't do anything about it. Just shut up and give us the money.
Right.
So, because then what are they going to do? Even if you tell them, what do they do? It says right here that a counselor was told about the dumping. And said in here that she said she smelled it too. But was anything ever done about it? I tell you what was done about it. They denied everything. We know nothing, but they can't absolve themselves from their legal obligation. This is a violation of a federal environmental protection agency freaking statute, law. It is. You can't allow hazardous material. And here's the damn government doing it, allowing this to happen, and then nothing happens. That woman's allegations about this, has there been an audit of that department? We don't know about it. You see, this is what Paul says. Shut up and go to the concert. It's only $5. And I'll even give it to you if you just keep your mouth shut and don't ask me to do my job. Your job isn't to run concerts and movies and parades. It's your job to account for the taxpayers' money, to be accountable to us, to have a fiduciary obligation to ensure that our money is being spent properly, and that we get, as the court said, the information that we require, which is stuff like this. And we should not have to go to court for it. This is an indictment of government. and an indictment of this mayor and his government and
Well,
past mayors.
Well, I look forward to Friday's show because we're going to get into this some more. Um, Chip and I were talking on the phone earlier today. Chip said, we're going to be into this for weeks. I don't
It's
know if people can
horrifying.
stand it for weeks. That's why I want to get this report out there. But once I get it available to be out there, I will be sure to post it to our Facebook pages where you can find it. And I want to be sure that you, the public, can get it. I want to let you know today is the 60th anniversary of the assassination of President Kennedy. There are celebrations. I don't know why it's called celebrations. There are memoriams going on throughout the state, especially at the Kennedy Museum. There's free admission today if you go in. It's in Boston. I don't know if we want to drive through this weather to get there, but that was a tough time in our country's history. Chip was buffing the floor in the military, and it's tough. It's tough, and it's tough for the Kennedy family to remember it once again. I want to thank you all for watching, and remember, happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you on Friday. Be safe. Hold your politicians accountable. We thank you for watching. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Enjoy your turkeys.